Here comes the nasty gram.
Send a priest to save my soul, forget it.
Welcome back to the Nastygram RPG podcast. This is episode 16 of One Shot at a Monster, but got a little bit more for you guys. This is Josh, and I just want to take a minute up here at the front of the show to thank everyone who's been listening, reviewing, sharing. We just hit 50 reviews on iTunes, and that's a big deal. It takes a lot to boost that algorithm, to get you heard out there. And I know it can sound like a broken record with every podcast out there asking you to review, but that really is the best way to spread the word. If you think about it, if you take the time to log into iTunes, do your one little review, you are not just helping us out, but you're guaranteeing if you dig the show, somebody else, 10, 20 people, are going to be able to hear this podcast because of your review, because of how you change that little algorithm thing. And I think that's pretty cool. So big thanks. And if you haven't yet and you want to do so, send a screenshot of that review to nastygrampod@gmail.com with a mailing address, and we'll send you out some sweet stickers with Jake's awesome podcast art. And also want to let you guys know, we have a Facebook page, but we actually just started a Facebook group, which is much better discussion format to talk about our show, but also just RPGs in general. I want to talk about your games or characters or stories, anything. We're on Twitter at NastyGramRPG, Instagram at NastyGramRPG. Damn, Matt even started us a Reddit, and a bot posted some porn on there. That's pretty cool. Anyway, enough time for me up front. Welcome to episode 16, guys. This is, I would say, the beginning of the end of One Shot at a Monster. All right, I am Josh, and I am your Dungeon Master.
Hi, I am Dean, and I am playing Sir Aedric Windmere the Knight.
Hi, I'm John. I'm playing Dr. Merrick Hoffman, the unconscious.
This is Jake playing Avery Colburn, the maker of deals.
Everybody's fancy except me this week. Unfucking believable.
This is Matt playing Kieler Ulson, the Bone Carver Ranger.
Thank you.
Keep it
I got
OG.
you back.
Thanks, buddy.
All right, well, last week, you guys had just escaped from Trigkulin, and you returned to the village of Udvar for some much-needed and brief rest and recuperation. However, unfortunately, that turned into a little bit of a ambush from an unforeseen quarters. Despite a lot of precautions, the village woman, Nuka, who, under the direction of Puali, was helping you guys feel at home and comfortable and well cared for and fed in the family home of Kieler, returned early the next morning and stabbed Aedric with a poison dagger. Turned out she'd been possessed by Arcturlgrim. You managed to subdue her with only some injuries, like a pretty busted up jaw.
Solid punch.
And this led to some discussion about the best way forward with these zealots seemingly at some level throughout the tribes, their web wove deep. There was discussion of what to do amongst yourselves and with Puali, and you decided to take a pretty daring risk to have Dr. Hoffman try to basically accept the spirit of Arcturlgrim into him by recreating this ritual as best you could. You were successful, and the attempt was made by Avery to swindle a legendary beast. So we'll see how that goes. So you basically have told Arcturlgrim that you want to make a deal, Avery, and that you are giving up your friends, your colleagues, and most importantly, the shield, telling him where it's headed to the village of, which one? I think it was Bronsoon, where the elders, shamans, and warriors were meeting, planning to support you, and you are planning on departing on your own terms and setting forth after Arcturlgrim. Is that about right?
That wraps it up.
That was a long one.
So,
And then we kill the Arcturlgrim and save everything.
You should see what's been cut.
Since I'm kind of scared and I think we're gonna die, we should probably do some inspiration, right? You want us to award each other inspiration,
Yes.
right?
Let's toss around some inspiration. We had a couple fast moving sessions, so anything you guys have banked up, we have some of these new bonds and things, and then really quick, anybody that got anything new? Because I did mention we are going to level up. So what do we got for inspiration, first of all?
Well, I think during the game, I think you already gave John a point for his flaw, go beyond the norms.
Yeah,
Obviously,
I'm at 2 now.
Obviously, you went beyond the norms, but I think I think his bond with me makes a lot of sense. That he's kind of trying to justify his worth.
I like that.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Because it
Another
was
one, John.
kind of my idea to do this, and he stepped up to be the person to do it. And then for Dean and Matt, looking at their flaws, Dean is desperation, and Matt's for Kieler is failure isn't an option. And I think just them going against their kind of alignment nature and being willing to do this and to trust us by staying outside while we do it. I think that's pretty good.
I think I did give one to Matt for that, but
Okay.
not to Dean.
And mine changed, but maybe not here.
Oh,
If you
is my
recall.
sheet wrong here?
Answers the bell.
Oh, shit.
Remember?
Yep, I failed to update yours.
Nope, that's okay. So I can tell you what those are. I think I thought I wrote them down. I think my new merit is answers the bell.
Yep. That's the wish.
And something about faith.
Shifting faith.
That's your flaw?
Mm,
Ooh, cool.
I apologize. So if you want to keep it in, it's up to you. It doesn't matter to me.
But then again, it's not to say that the
From a past event.
the old ones are not gone.
for
It's just-
sure.
If we feel we've milked the juice out of them.
Yeah. So that works.
that's still good for one for you, Dean. Anybody else got any to dole out? Oh, well, fine.
5,
Well-
4. No.
I think calculating and prepared for Avery makes sense. He's came up with a pretty dastardly plan in order to fool the Arcturlgrim and hopefully save some lives, maybe.
All right, I like that.
Kieler sees Avery as a necessary evil. You couldn't get more necessary evil than allowing the spirit of Arcturlgrim literally into your soul. Just throwing it out there.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah.
Dovetail. Okay, another for Kieler, one for Avery.
You guys want to keep going?
Guys,
DM
keep
seems
going.
like he's on the
Come
ropes.
He really likes it.
Hey, guess what?
We need like 5 each, guys. Come on.
You're gonna need them.
And I accidentally gave Josh one by using tiny dice. So we need to do this.
Okay, and everybody is going to level up. I mentioned that there's going to be some passage of time during this trip here. So everybody is now going to be 7th level. Anything significant? Just go around really quick, Matt. Anything new for you at 7th? You're straight ranger.
Yes. I got a new spell. I went with I think it was lesser restoration. Yep.
Ooh.
Yeah, lesser restoration. And I also got something for the Bone Carver class. I have Anchor of the Bones. Starting at 7th level, my talismans are imbued with uncanny power, keeping wicked spirits and ill tidings at bay. While in possession of a talisman, the keeper has advantage on death saving throws and saving throws against being possessed. The first time the keeper puts on a talisman, they gain temporary hit points equal to twice your wisdom modifier. They put on multiple talismans. The effects happens multiple times. If the talisman is taken off or the magic of the talisman is lost, so are the temporary hit points, and they still last 8 hours.
Groovy. And you can do 3 of those now?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Jake, how about Avery?
I got 2 points of dexterity.
All right. So what are you, fighter 4,
Sorry.
rogue 3?
Fighter 4, rogue 3. Yeah. Rolled a 10 on my hit points. Everyone saw it.
Allegedly.
Pretty good.
With big points. this
Big
time.
boy dice.
Everyone could see it this time.
Yeah. But I'll because I'm multi-class, I'm hitting 4 in fighter now. So it's just a dex bonus.
Groovy. John, the good doctor?
Some new spells. That's about it.
That's about it?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it?
Yeah, that's about it.
All right. Dean.
Aedric is now a 7th level fighter. He gained remarkable athlete, which makes sense for an aging fighter. Finds his second win.
Well, yeah, but you're like a Bergeron. You're like 34, 35, and you're just the skills are so honed at this point where you might not have the pure pure muscle power, but man, you can put that puck wherever you want it.
Sure can he?
Let's do a hockey podcast instead because the Bruins are looking good.
Puckheads. So remarkable athlete means I gain half of my proficiency to any dex, strength, or con check that does not already use my proficiency bonus and is rounded up. So essentially I get a +2 to dex, strength, and con checks. That doesn't use proficiency, which means they don't want you to add it to saving throws.
What is that? What is when? When would that even happen? Though?
Maybe if you're lifting something or...
When would you not get your bonus?
If
I don't
you
understand.
attribute checks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Not a saving throw.
Not a saving
Not
throw.
a saving throw.
Basically.
Okay, I get it.
Yeah. They don't want you to double. They don't want your saving throws through the roof because mine would be 8 strength, 8 con save, you know. So, and another, which I think will probably be very useful, is I gain some distance to my long jump. So if I need to get from one archipelago to the next, I can simply leap between land
straight
masses.
jumping.
Like the fucking Incredible Hulk, I guess.
What was the video game?
The tick. You're the tick.
Yeah.
Yes.
What was the video game where like if your jump skill would go up and up the more you used it? It got like so silly that
Elder Scrolls. Elder Scrolls of Morrowind.
Right, yeah.
you just like
you could
boing.
with the right gear, you could jump from one side of the continent to the other. But the problem was you took falling damage when you landed.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I took
1 point of feather. That's
I took the 6 hit points +3 for con. So we're up to 64.
All right. Hefty boy. And that AC with that legendary shield is
So yes, my AC is pretty good. It's 19 in the splint mail. It's 21 in the splint mail with a shield, and it's 24 in the splint mail with a magic shield. So not bad. And that's
Technically,
+1.
Avery has a shield right
No,
now.
I think
You would've given it
I gave it back to him, I think.
Okay.
Or right after that scene with you being possessed, probably
Okay.
gave it back. I think Avery also I don't know if he's expressed this in game, but to him there's a big difference between wielding the shield and just carrying it around.
Yeah.
Sure.
So yeah, he gave it back as soon as he realized he had the option to give it back.
Good to know.
okay. All right. Well, all that aside, you all left as planned aboard one of the larger ships of the tribe of Udvar, along with 2 score of the best warriors of the tribe, Poali, several shaman, heading far, far to the east. You are right now, Udvar is the westernmost tribal village, and the ship, at least, is heading to Bronsoon, furthest to the northeast, with the village of Viendietz having gone away. Gone.
This is where they've disappeared.
Yes.
Last known.
Viendietz. So Bronsoon is the last existing village. And that's where this ship is heading. That's where everyone believes you are as well.
Quick question. Powali is the man's name, correct?
She's
I'm sorry.
the village elder of Udvar.
How many is 2 score?
40.
Got it. Thanks.
Nearly 10 days have passed.
How many is it kidding?
A ride and a half.
I gotta get my
many
calculator
fathoms?
app. Google Translate.
3 leagues.
You've traveled many leagues. So it has been about 20 days. You've made good travel time. It's very far. Some of the sea passages, you're entering the 12th month of the year. So winter is fully setting in. Many of the passages that are normally open are starting to be choked with ice. There was actually a couple points that the ship had to be dragged over. These long ships of the northern tribes, that is part of their design. Sometimes it's faster to get out and haul them across with,
Shallow hulls.
Yep. Than it is to sail all the way around. There was a couple bad storms you guys kind of had to hold up for. But you are now far, far to the east, and the ship is pulled up, as has been the norm. You have seen on a small, unremarkable island, a final night's camp. The plan is the next day the ship will set out, and you will part ways. And so this will be your last eve, sort of to note this. The Poali and The others of the Udvar are having a bit of a feast, as best you can do with what's been caught, the goods of the north, what's been hunted and fished, and it's the end of the evening. You all have supped and dined and joined some mead. There's a fire burning, a nice luxury here in the north, and you're kind of sitting quietly around a campfire. The warriors have some of them come and gone. They're standing to watch. They've been very at alert this entire trip, with kind of constant precautions, whether it's against the wilds of the north, Arcturlgrim and his agents, these zealots inside, but you have not faced any major dangers. And some of the shaman and Poali have been speaking and telling some stories, as is their way, around the fire, traditional oral stories. Poali sits and she says, turns to you all. She says, some of you from lands far from us, do you have any stories you could share with us? A gift before we part ways?
Avery looks over at Dr. Hoffman and Sir Adric, and he says, well, any stories? Dr. Hoffman, surely you've been on some expeditions that are of note?
Should I have told you guys?
Yeah.
I didn't even have this in the game notes. It's just randomly pulled this out of my ass. Cut this whole part.
Let me give you the crushing stress of
Coming up with an improv story.
So, Adric, sensing the weight of the mood, decides to take something in a different angle. The first time I shit myself was at the Battle of Felgren's Pass.
A couple of the warriors, kind of snort, laugh, and raise their glass to you. Yeah, there's shit before battle.
It wasn't pretty. I would have preferred it to happened before the battle, so I could have taken care of myself. However, it happened amidst the battle. There's a swampland in this pass, and it was difficult to see, and it was nighttime, and we were certain that we were resting and drinking, and we are going to engage the enemy at dawn, at first light, of course. So we're sitting in our small clothes, oiling our armor, waiting. And that's when they fell upon us. It seems almost a sin to laugh now, as many good men were lost that night, but I'm sure if they're up there with the twins looking down on us, they would consider the comedy of a rather tragic situation. They didn't give us much time when they came out of the woods, when they came through the swamps, down the hill, and descended upon the camp. First, with fire from the catapults, we heard the drums, and they were on us. And there was a man with a big red beard. I don't remember his name. And he saw me, and I must have been about 19 at the time. And, well, that was the first time I thought I was going to die in battle. And I felt the wetness on the back of my ass. And I thought, oh boy. And he came through. He was big. He was angry. He had a hammer. And the next thing I know, I was down. I couldn't see. I didn't even fight. I didn't even stand a chance. I think I got run into by somebody fleeing. It was chaos. Men were yelling and screaming. And when I came to, this big red-bearded bastard was dead on the ground. Not from me, but from one of my compatriots. And he pulled me up and he said, "Hey, Adric, I believe you shit yourself." And we all had a good laugh. And, well, Felgren's Pass was considered a bit of a stalemate. We somehow drove them off, and no help to me. I was unconscious with shit on my ass. And that was that. But it was the first time where I realized Oh, so this isn't like the storybooks, is it? It's not, here they come, and here we are, and we thrust, and we parry, and It was chaos, and my body reacted in a way I was not expecting it to. And I guess I'll take a moment to raise a mug to those men who fell at Felgren's Pass, and to those men who saved the day with clean pants.
Shouts from warriors around the campfire. I shit myself the first time I saw Haval!
Cheers, lads, cheers.
Well then, Sir Windmere, I suppose the moral of this story: take a shit before the battle begins.
Indeed. Or maybe not. Maybe I would be dead at Felgren's Pass. I don't know, Avery. Who's to say, really?
I've got a good shit story. I told you about the lord down in the capital who has a pet tiger, yes?
Oh, Aladrin? The butt of all jokes?
No, Aladrin. Aladrin couldn't afford such a beast. I look towards the other warriors and I say, do you know what a tiger is?
They kind of shake their head, look at each other.
Suppose imagine a Haval on land. About as vicious as one. Not quite as big, but faster.
It's like a cat that's 700 pounds.
I look around and I say, I don't think they have cats either.
That's
I'm actually like racking my mind. I'm like, are there Arctic cats of any kind?
yeah, there probably are.
Snow
Yeah.
leopards
Snow
and shit.
leopards and,
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
and mountain
yeah.
lions and stuff.
Then they're like, yeah, of course. A saber-toothed tiger.
Yes, exactly. There's a Lord Garrel. He kept one at court on a chain next to his throne, if you could call it that. Well, he thought it would be funny to put a key around that cat's neck. That key unlocked a belt that his eldest daughter wore. He said that the man who got the key got his daughter. Well, as you can imagine, there were several crafty nobles who thought that they could figure out how to soothe the beast, or some even tried to poison it, simply snatch the key off its neck faster than the other. They all failed. In the end, the man who got the key, well, someone thought they were fast enough to pull it off of its neck. They were a little too slow, and it got his hand. And got the key with it. The man who got that woman was the one who sifted through the cat's shit to get the key. Small price to pay for her, I'll tell you that.
Yes, indeed, indeed.
One of them yells from back, crafty! That's how you get them.
What about you, Dr. Hoffman? Any shit stories?
Funnily enough, a shit story and a cat story all in one. Remember that expedition I did for you back in, it must be 5 years ago now? Well, the failed expedition out into the jungles?
Sure.
Well, I never told you, but we were following that ancient road, trying to find these ruins. I was excited to get to our next destination. There was a report of a ruined structure, and we were traveling through the thick jungle, the jungles of Kieler. The tiger would be quite at home there. Well, it was late in the evening, and the guides wanted to take camp, but I insisted we press on. And in the blackness, sifting through that jungle, we came face to face with a panther. I did shit myself. Thankfully, I felt like I stared at it in its eyes. Must have felt like minutes. It must have been only a couple of seconds.
Hoffman, is a panther a black cat?
Yes, about the size of a tiger, but very hard to see in the middle of a night, in the middle of a jungle. And I felt like I could feel what it wanted. I felt like I could communicate with it. I might have been hallucinating or just the adrenaline of it all. And I backed away slowly, and it just stared at us. But I'll never forget those gleaming eyes in the darkness. The power of that beast that could just maul us to shreds if it wanted to. Allowing us to live with an understanding. When we made camp, and I cleaned myself up.
Did anyone in the expedition know?
No, well, I don't think so.
You're lucky then.
Yes.
Sun elf shit smells like candles,
It's
scented
it's
candles.
sun-dried tomatoes.
It took me a year to shed the shitting night moniker.
Oh boy, not to put you on the spot, Matt, but you got a shit story to throw in here?
I don't know.
Well, inspiration for the three of you guys as I threw you all on the spot. Excellent improv. So there's a lot of hearty cheers and there's some weight to this evening. The crew all knows that you're parting ways, and despite whatever levels of secrecy that you've tried to maintain, the plan that you are to be separated and that this crew will be out on their own on the ocean as you set off. They all know what you're going to do, and they all know what the stakes are. So there are some more cheers, and many that you've gotten to know throughout the last 20 days of traveling in some pretty bitter conditions come by one and speak to you a bit. And the night winds down, the fire burns lower, and Poali comes over and says, well, I must rest with the shaman. We have some final things to prepare. Some things to give you before we part at first light. So, we will see you then. Rest well.
Thank you.
Thank you, Polly.
Adric is not going to get too deep in his cups. He has made that mistake as a younger man. He will not make it as an older man, and he certainly is not going to make it in this weather.
Good call. Cuts down the circulation and all. So things quiet down, and the night ends. Do you all stand watches on your own, or the warriors are standing to 25% security throughout the night? There's nearly a dozen of them on post marching around.
That seems sufficient to Adric.
I don't take watch unless I'm asked to, just because I figure we're going to be going through some pretty rough traveling over the next few days.
Adric might consult with the captain just to be respectful to see what the story is.
He says, you need the rest. We have more time.
Thank you. Hand on the shoulder, Lord of the Rings style.
He says, on your quest, fight with a happy heart and a strong spirit.
Indeed.
Does the, predator handshake?
Yeah.
Right? Boom. And
You as well. The shores of Bronsoon will not be kind.
he nods kind of with a bit of a grimace.
So you've done the Lord of the Rings hand on the shoulder, the Predator handshake.
We're about to fuck.
You've done the stoic nod. Have you missed any?
Yeah, I haven't spit on my hand yet.
Smack him in the ass as you walk by.
Lock eye contact.
I love watching him when he walks.
Matt, what are the tribesmen called? Double Dutch rudder up here. All right, cool. I wanted to know more just as a character sense if you guys were trusting. So you fail and you're all murdered
Do
in your
I
sleep.
get inspiration for what I just did?
Jeez, really, all right, you guys rest under the tarps draped around the ship as that lean to side by side, yourself and the rest of these Udvar tribesmen, in a way that has become quite comfortable to you. You wake in the morning, the ship is being made up, and you actually see what is planned for your departure. In the center, even this larger longship, there is no below decks, but there's a large center portion where cargo and stores are held. And to prevent any creeping eyes back at the village, underneath a lot of these stores, there is in fact another smaller boat. There's about a 20-foot long seagoing canoe. A mast is being erected. Provisions are being loaded onto it for your voyage, and it's being set up and towed behind the longship.
Got it.
And Puali says, The master of the ship says we have maybe half a day to the point that is best for you to depart. We will take you there.
Very well.
Good. Yes.
You guys make your way off the island and sail on. Half a day is expected. It is brisk, very, very chilly with a heavy wind, but clear and bright for your final day aboard this ship. And the time comes, the sails are dropped, and the smaller boat is pulled up alongside, and you guys are about to be lowered down to it. Poali comes over, and as you guys, a couple of the warriors are there to help lower you down one by one. She kind of speaks to each of you as you disembark the ship. Kieler, being the most proficient with these craft, you're the first one to go down, and she embraces you and she says, "We, all of us of Udvar, we share the pride that your family is not here to have for you in what you are doing."
Thank you. It means a lot. Be safe at Bronsun.
We will do as best we can. This is for you. She hands you a vial. It seems to be crystal with some sort of wooden or corked stopper. She says, "This is an elixir of a kind. If it pierces the skin of another, it can help to break them from anything which might hold their body or their mind." So basically, Matt, what you have here is a vial you can shoot your friends with, which if anybody's under the influence of a mind affecting and they're paralyzed, things like that, that can essentially give them another save.
Awesome.
Okay, cool.
Kieler, you lower down into the craft and take a hold of the rudder. Dr. Hoffman, you step over to the rail next, and Poali hands you a talisman of a bird, and she says, "You have come to our lands many ways as a student, as someone searching for knowledge. I hope that at the end you will be able to come back and teach us, and come back to the shelf."
If I'm alive to make it. He kind of nervously chuckles.
This holds the blessings of myself and the shamans that you can call upon for your companions. You can use the talisman to cast Bless.
Oh.
And it will not require concentration.
Oh, cool.
Instant.
It will require an action.
Yeah.
That's normally a bless spell.
Yeah.
Or a concentration spell. You lower down. Adric.
Yes.
Step over. She says, "Sir Windmere." She kind of smiles. She says, "I do not know if he would want me to say this, but after the test at the shelf,
Yes.
Idar spoke to me alone. He said, perhaps we were mistaken about the prophecy. Perhaps brethren referred not to heritage, but to spirit. He wishes you well in this quest." She gives you a, looks like almost a hammer. It's small, out of solid metal, and it kind of has a chain, like you could hang it from your belt. She says, "We of the North, especially of Udvar, we are people of the wilds, of the weather, and of the storms. The spirit of the storm is in this hammer for you to call upon."
I'm honored.
You can 3 times total use. You can, as a bonus action, basically kind of ring your sword against the hammer, and your next hit will deal extra 3d10 damage.
Ooh.
Lightning and thunder.
Whoa.
I am Thor. Let's go.
You are Thor.
That's gonna be
You notice
nasty.
you notice as he turns, he has a incredible six pack. And every woman present is looking.
My eyes just go and I start up into the air. Like, dude, Arcturlgrim's fucked.
And you notice the captain of the Warriors comes over to give you one last predator handshake. Your biceps just
Close up on the biceps.
ripping
I say,
as you lower into the boat.
Pawali, wait. She gave it to me, correct?
Yes.
I reach down to my boot knife and I take it off. And I say, see that Eardar gets this. And I hand it to her and I say, I've had this since I was 19 years old. I got it at the Battle of Felgren's Pass, and I would like him to have it. I hand it to her. I don't know if he has much use for such a thing, but it would be an honor for me if he would accept it.
You would do him honor in giving it. Thank you. Adric's lowered down, and Avery finally prepared to step off, and Pawali leans over, and she hands you a horn, and she says, "You often speak for your companions. This will allow your voice to lend your strength to them. You also 3 uses as a move action. You can give any ally an immediate standard action.
I looked at the horn and then looked to her, and I don't belong here. I look over at my companions who are, I assume, kind of on the other side of the boat or something, and I say, "This is not what men like me are meant to do. I cannot inspire them." I look at the horn.
I think you already have.
This is a fluke. You don't understand. I thought I would come up here and help kill a Haval and return with some head on a sail, claim victory, and rest on my false laurels. What we're doing it's real.
You remember the story Sir Windermere told last night? That is what courage is. It is not lacking fear. It is choosing to move forward in spite of it. I was a shaman in my day, and I have certain gifts, and I always feel it's important to listen. The words that you spoke in the home of Hookah with Arcturlgrim, you could have carried that out. Instead, you have chosen to do your part. And if we must, we will do ours. With a red flag into Bronsoon.
I will do my best. Thank you.
Thank you. And you're lowered down. And finally, the 4 of you sit in this, good size, like I said, a little bit over 20 feet, but almost looks like a toy bobbing next to this 80-foot long ship, which pushes off. One last cry of cheers from the warriors line the rails. Axes and swords bang on their shields.
Adric just holds up the hammer silently as the boat drifts away.
Avery blows the horn. I'm just kidding.
I guess bless.
Adric falls in the water in his splint mail and dies. He just sinks to the bottom. Not like this. Not like this.
And you guys push off on your own. With some words of direction from Kieler, you get underway. The small single square sail is raised. You're able to catch that brisk wind, and the rudder and the oars, you guys are within 30 minutes, completely out of sight of any other ship or any site of civilization on your own.
Well, now that we are out here, perhaps we should figure out how we're going to find the Arcturlgrim. We may know where he could be we know where he won't be. Kieler, you've hunted in these lands before. I imagine the Arcturlgrim is of substantial size. Shouldn't be too hard to find tracks or signs of its hunting.
Yes. I do not know where to start, though. Maybe Viendietz is where we begin.
I don't think that the Arcturlgrim hunts. Am I wrong, Doctor, in thinking that it is stuck in its prison?
Well, yes. We believe it is stuck in wherever it was felled those many years ago.
For Pawali's expedition's sake, we hope that's the case.
I suppose it makes sense to start at the village that was lost. At the very least, it'll be a place to make camp, yes?
Indeed.
All right.
Maybe gather clues.
Perhaps, yes.
You guys push on. It's another several days, 4 or 5 days of travel.
Let's role play all of that.
Yeah,
Let's,
for sure.
So we're gonna
What
do
is this?
random
I don't want to say on the podcast.
random encounters.
I already know. You forgot to oil your armor. It's now rusty.
Cool. Can I punch you in the face across the table? Probably. Can I ask you a quick question, Saya?
Yeah.
What does the hammer do for damage as a hammer?
It's a little
Yeah, it's,
charm.
It's
right?
like a it's
It's just a tiny little thing. Super unmasculine. Ding, ding, ding.
not tiny. It's like the size of like a rock hammer almost.
Yeah, so you can kill your spouse
Like
with it.
So
Yeah. What kind of damage does it do?
a D4.
Okay.
You know he's going to use it at
I'm
some
trying
point.
to imagine the complete lack of epicness of me holding it up, thinking it was this badass fucking rune carved hammer on the fucking thing, and they're all like, "What is he holding?" Adric's trying to signal something. What's in his hand?
Dean's imagining some like World of Warcraft
No shit,
weapon.
like fucking this badass thing up in the air, like fucking triceps.
All right,
like,
all right. Let's say it's the size of a hand sledge, okay? Like
right.
some fucking prop from Spinal Tap.
a 4-pound sledge.
The dwarves will trot upon it.
A 4-pound sledge.
4-pound
that I
sledge.
can work with.
Okay.
Okay.
So instead of a charm dangling, it's more of an actual hammer strapped into your belt.
Ooh, bad news though, Dean. 4-pound sledge, that puts you encumbered.
Yeah.
Cool. I love this guy. He's a great DM.
Cool. All right. So the travel goes on. It's a little bit more austere now. You're on a small ship. You have less supplies. You have less warming layers. You're getting splashed more with sea spray every day. It's rough. What's that?
Austere.
You like that?
Yeah, that's a Matty Spash right there, brother.
Spartan, you could say. But you guys continue to make good headway. The winds are favorable in general. Ironically, to push further to the east and the north this time of year. And on the 5th day, Matt, you see a sight you haven't seen since you were a much younger man, which is the island of Viendietz looming up on the horizon. And as you get closer, looming is probably a poor choice of words. It's actually relatively flat for one of these northern islands. Still has some terrain, but it's almost a wide slope, like a single rounded slope. And it's has a nice big natural bay that you sail right into. And what you see is the wrecked ruins of a village of hundreds. You get in, it's quiet, maybe unnaturally quiet, maybe just appropriately quiet. All around you, it's clear that it was almost all stone construction. You see some bare foundations, some half wrecked, but nearly every building in this village has been torn asunder. You see,
like the thatched roofs types of homes, or this is a little bit more sophisticated.
you think maybe thatched roofs, but the walls were all stone.
Cool. Okay.
And they've been like destroyed though.
Destroyed. And
Some.
Almost all.
Okay.
Anything, maybe some that were perhaps not, have also been unattended in this extreme climate for months at least, perhaps a year or two, and without kind of constant care and repair, those roofs are all gone. As you pull the canoe up and get out, you see that under the snow and ice, many of these rocks are not just smashed around, but are scorched, blackened.
Oh, I suppose that this means that Arcturlgrim is more mobile than I expected.
How old are these scorch marks? Could it be from lava?
I doubt it. This is a brother. There are no
I see.
lava flows here. The damage done to these buildings, it would take hundreds, thousands of men to do it, and for no reason, really.
How long has this place been abandoned, Kieler?
How long have we said Viendietz is?
I don't know that we've said specifically. I think a relatively short amount of time in a big scale, maybe more than, I don't know,
6 to 9 months, maybe.
Yeah, 6 months to a year or two, somewhere in that range.
Could just say less than a year, I suppose.
Sure.
It has been half a season,
Very well.
maybe more.
Let's stick close.
All right.
I
You guys,
start walking into the village, and a year, perhaps, if it was abandoned suddenly or over time, if suddenly, maybe there's useful things here.
Yes. Keep your eye out for corpses. Are there? Do we see any bodies?
Or smell any.
I'm not sure that there would be any remnants of bodies. That amount of time in the wilds. I would say you might find some bones, but between the weather and the animals, most things have been picked clean.
Kieler, did anyone survive this? Did anyone escape to tell what happened here?
There are a few Viendietz, yes. They weren't here, not here when this happened. They visit other islands, away, business. That is how we find out. They come back and it was destroyed.
It doesn't look like his followers did this, though. I mean,
No.
if I didn't know better, I would say that they used trebuchets, and clearly that didn't happen.
It is strange. If he is trapped in the ice somewhere, or if he can't leave, how would he have done this? Unless he can leave for a short period of time, and before the flames engulf him, he's able to do this, or to do this from afar. Or there are those within his employ that have some power that we don't know and haven't seen yet.
It's the cold that protects him. Perhaps he left during a particularly cold spell, a blizzard or something.
Are we thinking this place was sieged? I start looking around for signs of war machine efforts. I'll try to employ my, I guess you could say, knowledge of such things.
Okay. Give me an investigation, but for this specific purpose with advantage.
Very well. Thank you, sir.
Josh,
Investigation.
Go ahead, Matt.
are any of the bones we've seen humanoid? Like
Yes.
skull, anything like
Yep.
that? Okay.
No, yeah. You believe you find the remains of some villagers inside some of the huts, some of the maybe less destroyed huts.
Okay, I have as a bone carver, I have an ability at 3rd level. You're able to gather information about the origin of bones by studying and looking over the corpse or bones of a dead creature over a 10-minute period. You can discern how the creature died, how long ago it died, and what type of creature it was.
Okay, cool. While you're in there in the bone zone, Adric is working his way out. What are you shaking your head at?
Because of my role.
Oh,
Adric looks around and he
picking
just
his
says,
nose.
I'm still pissed about my hammer. No, there's a lot of weather cover here. If they had weapons of war, it's not obvious that they were here.
yeah. I mean, one thing obviously it's very rocky, but there on this island there are some soils, and a siege of any kind would generally involve some kind of earthworks or defenses on the part of the attackers or the defenders, and there's no sign of that.
No reason they could just roll through.
Right.
They'd best to be served on horseback.
Yep.
I'd just ride through quick.
Okay, Matt, you spend some time inside this wrecked home. It's kind of gives you a strange feeling, because you think for a moment from the shape of it, single room, L-shaped, the size. This could be your family home, but the roof is gone. One wall is partly collapsed, and in the corner are the most of the remains of two skeletons. You spend time touching the bones, kind of slowly running your hands over them, and what you realize are these are the remains of two, a man and a boy, young, maybe 4 or 5 years old. The boy was killed with a blade, and the man was killed by a beast. The skull, even without any flesh, you see the searing, the bone actually split. You assume the heat so tremendous that the skull just cracked. And as you sort through the bones, you find a very rusted blade underneath. And what you realize is that they were hiding, and the man, probably the father, took the boy's life before the thing came for them.
Metal.
Is there trees or forests surrounding this village?
No, very limited vegetation. There's a lot of kind of, or not a lot, a bit of kind of lichen-like growth and scrub, but nothing more significant than kind of thick vines, 2-3 inch vines that travel around. That's the closest thing they get to woody substance here.
Hoffman's just kind of looking for signs of a large creature moving through brush or forest or woods or anything.
Okay.
To kind of get a sense of, if the Arcturlgrim was here, the scale of him, trying to get a measure.
Okay. You're moving along, and you actually you stop and turn, and you realize that this kind of slight cut through the terrain is most likely, as you look at it and you take a few steps back and walk down into it, and as your feet touch down, you get a kind of your heart just jumps, suddenly pounding at 150 beats a minute in your chest, and your mouth goes dry, and you can feel that he was here, that his massive body slithered through this exact spot where you're standing.
Hoffman stands for a second,
Came up out of the ocean.
catching his breath, and then kind of shakes his head, and then steps to one side, and then basically does measures it with his stride to see how long it was, how wide it was, and takes out a parchment and starts doing some calculations. Basically,
You can't tell anything of the length.
yeah.
But you can tell the width, and from side to side, it was the body was at least 15 feet.
Yeesh.
Between the shoulders?
Yeah.
It came through here. Hoffman
What?
has a staff out, or a piece of stick he's using to walk.
Adric runs over.
Kind of traces this trail of crushed like vegetation to the water. Yeah, it emerged from the water and came through this way.
The water.
It must live there. It must live in the deep ocean. It is fairly cold in there if it's not next to a underwater volcano. And it came through here, and from what I can see, it is about 15 feet wide. And if you can think of a snake, it maybe only he's like mimicking like the size,
Hedrick
like width
turns and
to length.
strides 15 feet away from Hoffman and turns and looks at him and just gets that feeling in his nethers like, oh boy, he's this wide? I say from 15 feet away.
Yes, yes. And who knows how long.
Gonna need a bigger pike.
Indeed.
Jake, give me a perception roll.
Perception? Is that? Oh, I see. I found it.
You know, the one you keep talking shit about how good it is?
No, I'm not good at perception.
He's inside.
I mean, I'm okay at perception.
I'm good.
Don't you have that
Um,
little your little notice shit feat?
yeah, I do.
Notice
You're
shit
right.
feat.
But so I got a 16.
Okay.
Avery, what Avery's doing?
A nasty gram for you.
Okay,
So as John is
this is exactly what I was gonna do.
feeling the trace of this creature, and John, it's more than just a scholarly awareness. Maybe that's what you're saying, but your heart hasn't slowed down. You can feel a connection every time you kind of walk along this path. It's almost exciting. You almost
Yes, he came through here through the water and must have gone into the village. And yes, those buildings, if you can see them, the size of him, strength that can't even imagine.
Did he come back this way? So did he continue on?
Shakes his head.
Are there tracks, Kieler?
Can I try to track it?
yes,
Follow the path through the village
Yeah.
to see where it entered the sea, I guess?
yeah. Why don't I fucking 16 sessions in? Why don't I give the ranger a chance to roll their skill?
Hey, the fucking rogue
Yay.
has never made a stealth check.
Also, and to be clear, Josh, our dungeon master, handed Jacob, who of course plays Avery, a nasty grin.
Oh, yeah.
Let's make that painfully
But
clear.
it's funny actually because it is exactly the thing I was about to ask him.
That's awesome.
Preemptive nasty gram.
So
I like
It
it.
seemed appropriate for multiple reasons
Yeah,
for
yeah.
you to notice this. What'd you get, Matt?
Balls.
Okay.
You got one shot.
you do have advantage.
Yeah, I rolled a 2 and a 5.
let it be known, Matt has finally rolled poorly.
I'm good for like 1 or 2 per game.
It's just been too much time to make too much out of what exactly happened here. I will say, Matt, because we haven't gotten to do a ton with the whole bone carver thing. I think something that would be cool is that there's an essence that's imbued in the bones of that man, and you feel that taking one with you will help you to track this beast going forward. So Matt is or Kieler's holding this bone and trying to follow the path that Dr. Hoffman's kind of pointed out and working their way around. Sir Adric is close by and has been looking at the perimeter of this village as a warrior, as a soldier. What's Avery doing?
So Avery, as usual, is more concerned with intent. So he's walking around the village, kind of looking through some of the houses, and what he's wondering is why Arcturlgrim or his forces attacked this place. So, and you already sent me an Instagram, so I already know the answer, but kind of. But I want to find out, like, is there something that was taken, like specifically that they were looking for? I mean, was it just random chaos of murder, or like, did they come here to take something in particular? Or just as telling, what didn't they take?
They took everything has been taken.
Okay.
There is nothing of any value of any kind inside any of the homes.
So like everything from like fucking spoons and bowls to weapons, food supplies. Yeah. Everything.
But there's not a spot of a barrel,
Okay.
a pot, anything.
Not a single long ship or rowboat left in the harbor. Okay.
No, there might be, you see a bit of burnt wood.
Okay.
Could have been remnants of some. And as far as objectives, I mean, you stop and kind of look back around, and it's like imagine a kid builds a little fort in a sandbox, a little village, and then plays Godzilla. And just like tries to destroy everything in the sandbox.
The other thing that I kind of want to look for is, I'm curious if the attackers were trying to hide anything, like their motivations, or maybe they wanted it to look like there were more of them than there were, so they did extra damage that wasn't necessary, or maybe they tried to hide their own bodies.
Honestly, after nearly a year, I think any detail like that, there's just not going to be any kind of traces of it, really. So I think that's about all you can make out.
So I can't come back to them as they're trying to find the tracks, and I say, Kieler,
Yes.
have any of your people been here since the attack? Did they come and take all of the things, all the supplies?
Not that I know of.
Where is everything?
Maybe.
I mean, I know that your people live a rather simple life, but even in your home, you had a cook pot, a few mugs for ale. There's nothing.
What?
Nothing.
Adric walks into one of the premises and just starts rummaging around.
There's really nothing to rummage through. There's maybe some something has been nesting in here. There's some brush and brambles. There's the stone of the home.
Adric has studied old battles. He looks at some of these corpses. No rusted old armor, nothing.
Nothing. And there's
What about broken things?
Is it metal things that are missing, or is it also like wooden tools?
Everything.
the only things you find are maybe some fragments, bits of smashed ceramic,
Right.
burnt wood.
Okay.
And there's not a lot of bodies at all. That could possibly be explained. Again, nature is a wild thing,
Right.
especially up here. But like I said, you haven't found many remains at all.
In under a year.
Under a year.
Maybe his followers came. They take it, make themselves camp
We
wherever Arcturlgrim is.
can assume his followers need things. Maybe after Arcturlgrim came in and cleaned out this place, they came and picked the bones, literally.
Maybe not all live with secret village or spy.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but the Viendietz council seat is empty, correct? They're all gone?
Yes.
Yes.
The Bronsoon essentially have absorbed the remnants of the Viendietz.
That's right.
As their neighboring, closest in relations and proximity tribe.
I guess they would know the most, but
We don't really know what motivates the Arcturlgrim, yes. In some ways, it reminds me of the stories, the legends of dragons. They would keep hoards of treasure. But this is odd. Why take simple utensils from a home? What need does the Arcturlgrim have for food supplies or any of these things?
his zealots. Maybe he came in and did the killing, and they came in and did the cleaning.
Maybe they were already here. If we're close to where he layers, perhaps he had already influenced many of the villagers. Perhaps they took the things.
It's possible, isn't it?
Yes. It was him who killed the people. This, and I'll hold up the bone. This tell me. He's killed by beast.
By Arcturlgrim himself?
Yes?
Yes, Matt, Kieler is certain. You've examined many bones. You've found of prey and of predators, of those that were hunted down by tribesmen. You've never felt anything like the energy in these bones. You can feel the fear. You can feel the awe still lingering in them.
There is a terror inside these bones like nothing I've ever felt.
Well, what? Avery's a little shaken, but he kind of gathers himself and he says, "Well, what is actionable here? What can we use? What information? We know now how large Arcturlgrim is. We know
that he
it
can come from the water.
Yes.
Let's not stay too close to the shore, lest we be dragged in by the beast.
Perhaps he travels by water because it's colder. Yes, Doctor?
What? Hoffman was kind of looking out into the water past where the tracks
Stay
are.
away from the shore.
Oh, yes, of course. I'm not too sure yet if he lives in the water or if that's just how he best moves.
If he's at home in the water, he has a distinct advantage over anything.
Must fight him on land, that's for sure.
Well, we know that he can burn things. We already knew that, but he didn't burn the stone.
This is true.
There are
Is
portions.
that right? Sorry. Sorry, that was an assumption. I'm sorry.
There's stone that's scorched, and there's stone that looks like molten and reformed, like where stone was reduced to.
Okay. So
liquid.
maybe like some of the thicker stone seems to just be scorched, but
Yeah, and that probably the flame was not used everywhere.
I see.
It's not like.
Okay.
I mean, a lot of these houses are just like I said, smashed like a kid smashing a little
Okay.
sand castle.
So let me revise that statement. I say, we know that his breath can melt stone. And I kind of gesture to some melted stone. I say, that will be important, not to try to take cover behind a pile of rocks.
Which brings me to the shield. We should have had this conversation on the boat. My mind was elsewhere. I apologize. The properties of this, I hold up the shield, which looks much more impressive than the hammer, is it grants the wearer immunity to fire. In addition, it can lend some of this magic to people who are nearby, so don't stray too far away from me if the beast is here, or when we confront the beast. Stay close. Approximately 30 paces.
10 paces. 30
Yes,
feet.
but it would seem that his fire, it is directed in a way.
Indeed.
So if we could keep his attention on you, then maybe it would be best that we're not next to you.
Or in a column.
I mean, look here. The stone is melted, but the stone around the edges of the building, it's simply scorched. The full power of his attack.
Could very well that he spews magma like the volcanoes around.
And another thing, if he unleashes this weapon on us, and we do have the cover of the shield, when it comes, much like fire from the trebuchet, if it's nearby, hold your breath. The last place you want this stuff is your lungs.
Pleasant.
Well, I suppose we know a little bit more. We're a little bit more aware of what we're up against. We look around the ruined village.
Well, now we have to figure out a way either to lure it, if it is in the water, or to find where it stays or lives.
We know it wants the shield. We know he thinks he's getting the shield.
Well,
Will he present himself or just send his zealots to take it?
it came from here, yes? Doctor, it came out of the water here?
Yes.
Oh, all right. Well, then let's ask, why did it come out of the water here and not on the other side of the island? It wouldn't circle around. If it can't be outside of its lair for too long, as we suspect, then it would take a direct route.
Certainly. Kind of look out over the water.
You're facing to the northeast.
That way is the northeast. if I can remember, he ruffles through his stuff and pulls out a drawn map that he's probably been working on this entire time and kind of noted up from his personal library.
Yeah, not a. You definitely don't. There's not a lot of records of what's beyond here. Matt Kieler knows that Viendietz is the northernmost. It's the eastern and the northernmost of the villages, or was. Beyond it, there are more islands, but it is not too far where it generally is just considered impassable, where the ice pack never breaks, and basically is considered just kind of what's that old terra incognita?
Yeah, yeah. Hoffman kind of shows you the map. The Viendietz Island is really the only thing that we know of, or at least I know of, that is northeast.
Yes.
Arctic land above, I think.
Past that, sheets of ice, brothers. Then, nobody knows.
So you're saying that if we were to sail northeast from here, we would hit sheets of ice?
Yes, endless.
There were boats here. There's none now, but there must have been. So perhaps we'll find those when we hit this ice.
So we go northeast.
I look at Hoffman. What do you think?
Well,
If he attacks us when we're in a boat, it's over.
we are certainly dead if we are on a boat. We don't know what land is northeast, or any solid land, that is. If it is sheets of ice and he can spew magma, then that ice will be destroyed under our feet. It's best to fight him on land, on solid ground.
It's not only ice.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just like the land is connected by ice that never really fully breaks up.
Right.
You think that there is a way to lure him out? To bring him here?
We would have to...
We have bait.
Do we?
The shield? Me, perhaps?
If you
We
want
lose-
to catch a creature here, bait is best.
We lose the element of surprise, though.
Right now, as far as you have planned, and you believe, unless he didn't buy it, you think that you have made Arcturlgrim believe that the shield
It's going to be in bronze.
is going to be in bronze soon.
Right. And also just like out of game, we don't have any reason to think he's somehow able to see us here.
No.
You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
like if he's in a lava cave or whatever, like,
I mean, there's no indications that anything has been on this island
right.
for months and months.
So I don't know, like just kind of thinking out of game, like how we would, if we were going to try to lure him, I don't know how we would get his attention. I mean, yeah.
I mean, you have
Maybe
an
a trap is already set.
What? No, because he doesn't know we're here.
Yeah, but if he thinks the shield is going to be on Bronsoon and we're at Viendietz, wouldn't theoretically we be behind him then?
Well, he's not going to go to
But-
Bronsoon.
Yeah,
It's just gonna be
we
zealots.
don't think he's gonna
Yeah.
leave where he is. So I mean, yeah, he doesn't know where we are, which was kind of the advantage.
Yeah.
Right.
So I guess the best option would be to head northeast to the islands to see if there's a camp or something there of his followers.
I mean, I would imagine that he has to speak with them somehow, mentally probably, but probably some...
Are there no
settlement.
tracks leading away from this place, as if perhaps an expedition came in and left?
Nah,
If he has followers.
a year ago.
There's no signs of anyone having been here for months.
Okay.
I walk out to the dock and I'm looking in the water where it went under, and I say, Doctor, what do the legends say about when it was defeated the last time? It was imprisoned, yes?
It fell from the sky. They cut its wings. It fell into the ice, never to be seen.
Fell into the ice and lost its wings. There must be more. There must be something in that legend that can help us. think back. What did the DM say at the beginning of the very first game? Let us go back and listen to podcast number 1. There must be a clue in that monologue.
There's many clues. You guys never fucking listen to it?
There's plenty of clues.
Can I try to use my favorite enemy to make an intelligence check to try to recall any information that maybe Pawali and I had talked about while were traveling here? Anything
About Arcturlgrim?
Yeah, that wasn't legend about where it could be.
Sure. Yeah, I think with that, that allows you to add proficiency, even if you don't normally have it for an in check of that nature.
Yeah. Oh no, it's actually advantage. Advantage on
Okay.
wisdom and intelligence to recall information. So just straight intelligence, or
I would say that would be nature. Sure.
Cool.
In this situation, closest thing I could think of.
dirty 20.
Okay.
Goddamn.
Well, there's not a lot of direct experience, if any, of Arcturlgrim. It is believed that he dwells in the coldest regions. That would naturally be further to the north, would be the assumption. It was a lot of the tales and even just kind of the legends always refer to him living under the ice, under the mountain. You know that if Arcturlgrim is a living thing, he must subsist, and a creature of that size would need a lot of subsistence. So
Water creatures.
you could think that a man of a ranger of your experience would probably have some idea of the effects of an environment on a predator that large existing. It would just completely change the ecosystem. So that's something that you could pick up on in a general area, you think? It's not just what he would eat, but like what those things eat, and like that whole.
So you're saying like if we kind of got into the general area, he could kind of pick up on some signs.
Yes.
To okay, I see.
Yeah, for sure. Like, if first of all, do we even hear anything? Are there predators? Are there prey animals?
Right.
Is this place devoid of life?
I'm gonna
Matt,
have
do you
Dave
think,
Attenborough
nice.
read the next intro.
Matt, you think
Are the seas empty?
Kieler want to share any of that with the class?
No, just don't.
Yeah, sure. No, I'll keep.
Nice.
I'll say
We'll just all keep quiet about our idea.
he likes it cold, like the Blue Mountains on the bottle.
Yeah, I mean, I would say just for the sake of brainstorming, and unless specifically otherwise, most of the stuff you guys are kicking around together.
Otherwise, it's silly to repeat it in character.
I say the only thing that could feed such a beast would be Haval. Perhaps that's... You had said that the one that was spotted was abnormal, yes? Strange. Shouldn't have been there, perhaps? Maybe it was driven away from its normal feeding ground by the only thing larger than it.
Makes sense. Yes.
It's so awesome that I'm going to pretend that that's what I planned the whole time.
Well,
I think we either make camp here or travel north.
It's well into the day. The sun is actually already kind of getting pretty low on the horizon. So
I make
Take
camp
some-
here, I suppose, and then
Take shelter in what's left of these structures.
Yes.
I'm gonna start gathering some like thatched roof that wasn't burned
Okay.
to make a fire.
yeah, and like I said, there is a lot of brush and vine-like material, so you guys can get a fire going, get inside one of the least destroyed structures.
But priority one furthest away from the shore. Priority two, least destroyed.
Okay. All right.
I'll also look around to see if I can't forage any food. Also sort of in the same thing, looking for rodents or other smaller creatures that might still be around, or if they're also MIA.
Okay. I think this seems pretty normal for the amount of life that you're finding and signs of life around here. It seems like what a little island would look like if you took people off of it.
Kieler, Adric asks. We are in, I believe, the dead of winter here. Is it possible that, like a great beast that it is, like great beasts in the north and great predators, that it hibernates? Is it something that simple? I'm sure.
Maybe not. Maybe opposite for him. He needs cold to survive. Maybe it is only dead of winter. He is active. He comes out of the water because it is cold enough.
That makes sense.
It would work out to
About
this
a year
village
ago.
probably being a little bit under a year ago, probably the dead of winter that this happened.
Everyone's testy shrivel a little at that news. Well, when we keep our watch, keep our eyes on the coast.
Winter is coming.
Winter is coming.
Yes. We light fire now.
Very well.
All right.
As we're eating dinner, I say it seems impossible to try to imagine the motivations or try to think like such a creature. But what does it want?
We know it's intelligent. That is one of the scariest aspects of this monster.
Oh, we know it wants to kill the elves.
It wants revenge. It wants everything.
If you were a prisoner, would you not want freedom?
And revenge?
Maybe that is its end goal. It spends all this time trapped here in the cold, in the ice. Now it wants freedom
It told me that
to get revenge.
It told me that its followers, it and its followers would rule the world, more or less. It said that I could keep half of the humans, but that it would get all of the elves. It included your people and yours, Doctor, when it referred to elves.
You're not positive of that.
Oh, I'm not?
It spoke
Oh,
of
okay.
men and elves.
Okay.
He spoke of he did speak of both kinds of the elves.
So does that mean I could keep a quarter of the half-elves?
Maybe 3/5 compromise.
Oh, no.
We have a counter proposal, Mr. Arcturlgrim.
Summon them back up. Perhaps it just wants power. I don't know. But maybe we can understand its followers better than we can understand it.
Here's one thing I know, Avery. There are many things in this world. I've seen the horror that men do to one another. And beyond men, there are things we can't see. Demons and dragons. We don't see them very often. And sometimes they're motivated purely by malice. They want to inflict pain and terror and death. That's why we sailed all this way. We can't allow that. If you find a deeper motivation, I would love to hear it. I am curious, perhaps not as curious as Dr. Hoffman here. I'm just here to kill it. But the more we learn, as I have learned, the better prepared we can be. I envy you trying to figure this out. Knowing the motivation may give us an advantage, but there may not be one.
All right. The evening kind of fades into quiet as you finish your meal. And despite the fact that, I mean, this is the closest you've come to being inside in nearly a month, it does not feel secure.
Right.
There's an energy, maybe it's just all in your minds, but you feel very, very exposed here. You guys take watches, I assume?
Yeah. One thing I
Yeah.
would like to do, even if it's just a little bit, is I say to the group, before we begin our watches, help me gather up some stones. even if it's just a low wall near where you're going to be sleeping, it could be the extra second you need.
I assume you guys were kind of inside one of the
As much as we could.
mostly
and-
intact
and
structures.
maybe bring some of the rocks around
Sure.
to complete the perimeter. Even if it's something that, say it's zealots, they have to jump over instead of just walking up and housing us, something between us and
Okay.
angles of approach.
All right.
And for sure, everybody stick nearby on watch.
Hoffman will cast alarm and set an alarm out.
Nice.
Okay.
It's like a little like mechanical.
Sets up his ring.
Yeah,
His ring
ring
camera.
doorbell.
Please don't do some dumb gnome Warcraft shit.
Oh,
All right. What's the one? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Matt.
I was going to say I'll take last watch.
All right. What's the rest of
Adric
the
will
order?
take first. Yes, Adric will take first watch.
I guess Hoffman will take second.
Okay, I guess Avery's up in the middle of the night.
The witching hour.
Third watch that blows.
hair.
Actually, second watch is the worst.
Is it?
Yeah, because you barely fall asleep and you're
Yeah.
thinking about having to get up for the watch.
Fucking sucks.
All right. You guys proceed into your watch routines. Adric first, quietly polishing his armor, eyes scanning around
my,
the darkness.
my eyes are up. My eyes are very high. I'm on high alert. I'm scanning the water often.
All right. There's not much of a moon. Let's say maybe a quarter moon right now, and but the sky is pretty clear. There's enough. Your watch passes without much matter. You wake Hoffman, and he seems pretty groggy. He kind of just gets up without a word, and you head back to rest, and. Kieler, you wake, and kind of your heart jumps for a minute because you realize the sky is brightening and you are waking on your own.
I'll immediately pop up, unsling my crossbow, and look for my companions.
All right, you're in the house. You look quickly. Adric and Avery are there. Your quick motion, they both kind of stir their warrior. Even Avery's warrior spirit honed a bit, and you do not see Hoffman immediately.
Hoffman, he didn't wake me. Where?
Great. Remember that part where we had him possessed?
No, there
Yeah,
won't be any
it's fine.
repercussion to that.
It's fine.
Nah.
It's great.
Super fine.
Can I make, I guess, an investigation check or a perception check to see if I can find tracks for him? or-
Yes. You realize all his possessions are there, his crossbow, everything. But as soon as you leave the house, the light, the fuck is the opposite of twilight? What do you call
Dawn.
pre-dawn light?
Yeah,
Dawn.
pre-done. Yeah.
That's it.
Pre-dawn.
That's all you got. That's all there is. The light of the coming dawn is enough to see Hoffman a couple 100 feet away. He's down on the ground, and you all kind of rush over, weapons drawn, and you come to him, and you realize he's on his knees and his hands, and he's down in this depression of the passage of Arcturlgrim. And you see his hands rubbing back and forth on the rocks. And in the light, as the sun starts to peak above the horizon, you see the rocks stained red with blood as he mindlessly rubs his hands over and over.
All right. Eodric does not look down at the rock and the blood in the distressed Hoffman. His eyes are up and around.
You don't see anything.
Okay.
I'm going to pull out that elixir that Powali gave me.
Okay.
And,
I like put a hand on yours, Matt. Avery says, no, don't.
John, it has been so long that you've been staring at this light, hearing your breath heavy, deep. The light of a crystal, Tathazine crystal. But unlike the ones that Dr. Hoffman is used to, this one glows blue. A deep, icy blue. And ice and wraps it as water drips around it onto the floor, and your heavy, fiery breath comes in and out. And we'll stop there.
Everything's fine, guys. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Oh,
Go for a walkabout.
Probably
Sure.
2.5 hours.
Thank you guys once again for listening. You heard all the stuff up front. You know where to reach out to us. We would love to hear from you, interact with you. So do so on any of those socials or by emailing nastygrampod@gmail.com. Big thanks to our awesome musical contributors. The scores come from Adrian von Ziegler. Intro music by Wilhelm Screen, who, secret, is in studio right now recording a new album. And outro music by Creeping Cadavers. Shout out to Scott. That's it from us. See you next week.
Dreams of fame that will never come true. Spend all our days watching the world fade away. Dance until the lights go out.
That's nasty.